on this week's Most Craved.
There's one last Hobbit film before the franchise sets sail for the Grey Havens. We've seen it and are going to share our thoughts.
The Source Code sequel is going to make 5 people very happy, and I'm one of them.
Will Smith make a good dead shot? I'm sorry.
It's okay. I like that.
Thank you.
I like that.
Hey guys, welcome to this week's Most Craved. I'm Jenna Busch with Legion of Leia.
I'm Silas Lesnick with ComingSoon.net.
And I'm William Bibbiani with CraveOnline. Hey.
That gets better every week.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm working on it. And this week on Most Craved, take it away.
All right, we are talking about the Suicide Squad casting. So we have Will Smith as Deadshot. I'm sorry about that pun. Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn. Jared Leto as the Joker. Cara Delevingne, I have no idea if I'm saying that right, as Enchantress. Tom Hardy as Rick Flag. Am I leaving anyone out? Will Smith as Deadshot.
That's correct.
I got them all.
Yeah, I
all right.
think, am
we missing something?
Jai Courtney is Captain
Jai
Boomerang.
Courtney, yes. Okay.
Jai Courtney. Hollywood still thinks he's going to be a thing. We'll find out soon. We'll find out soon.
You know, it's funny. I had heard a rumor last year that Tilda Swinton was going to play the Joker.
That would have been the coolest thing.
Amazing.
Oh
but I guess
God.
they're going for the sort of androgynous-y kind of a Joker thing.
Mm-hmm. Jared Leto clearly can do that now.
Yes.
Jared Leto, I mean, he's a performer that can completely transform himself.
Totally.
I don't think just from his casting we have any idea what the Joker's
Well,
going to be like.
I think a lot of people thought when Heath Ledger was cast that we knew exactly what that was going to be like, and that it was
So
going to suck.
did not.
And he pulled out all stops and created a new character. But what's interesting is that this isn't like The Dark Knight where it's Batman v. the Joker.
Right.
It's going to be an entire ensemble cast, and that's one of the things that weirds me out about Will Smith. Will Smith is a huge movie star. Will Smith hasn't deigned to be part of an ensemble cast in any meaningful way in almost 20 years. He did 6 Degrees of Separation, Independence Day, and then he was the star or co-star of everything, or he did a short cameo in Winter's Tale, and that doesn't count. So the idea that he would be part of a big team book, in which in many respects, all eyes are going to be on the Joker and Harley Quinn. They're not just going to be on Deadshot. No one's going, ooh, Deadshot.
I might be going, ooh, Deadshot.
But you know what I mean, the mainstream audience.
Right, but I mean, it'll be interesting to see him play a bad guy, too.
Yes.
Because, I mean, Deadshot's got some really cool stuff with his daughter and all of that, but it's a sort of a departure for him. So I'm actually kind of excited to see that. I see that DC is still going with we're casting models with Cara, which I know nothing about her performance.
A lot of great actors and actresses have started out as models. Charlize Theron was a model.
Trish Helfer.
There you go.
Who I absolutely love. So, I mean, I'm totally fine. I'm just really joking about that because honestly, I'm cool with this casting. And Enchantress is an interesting choice because we're bringing magic in.
It's interesting, too, because when I think of Enchantress and comic books, I think of Marvel's Enchantress.
I'm actually, at best, hazily familiar with the DC Enchantress.
Very much so.
Tell me, does anyone know? Tell me, no? Okay,
Not
good.
a lot, which for me is weird.
I remember her
experts here at
appearing
Most
in Shadow Pact, the miniseries in the mid-2000s.
Oh, was she in that?
Yeah.
She was one of the central characters in that.
Okay, then I remember.
But otherwise, yeah, I think of Enchantress from Marvel, and I almost wonder if it's not a sort of screw you, Marvel. We are going to have an Enchantress on the screen first that people associate, because she seems like a logical person to appear in Thor.
I will say this: if that is DC's screw you to Marvel, is we're going to get dibs on Enchantress, they still have a long way to go.
Well, is it weird that I am far more excited for this movie than I am for Batman v Superman: Law and Order?
Yes.
I'm sorry, I'm just always going to call it that.
I don't think it's weird. I think it makes perfect sense. Batman v Superman, has so much build-up and so much reputation and so much audiences already have a general sense of who those characters are, what they like and what they don't like. And if you see anything from the new movie that doesn't excite you, it diminishes it. Suicide Squad have only been put on camera a few times before, and there is no definitive version. So David Ayer, a really great director, see Fury, it's fantastic. He could bring something really new and fresh and awesome to this. And also, it's villains. The safety is off.
Yeah.
I like the idea of Marvel has found a great formula for hiring directors to basically make a movie that's already been made. They're just responsible for making it. It's a great format for Marvel. I like that DC is switching things around and hiring somewhat more auteur directors, which Marvel sort of did with Ant-Man and then Edgar Wright left. I like this very different approach. I love seeing these these big names coming to a superhero movie. I'm excited for Batman v Superman as well, though.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm just more excited for this, but because in a way, I guess I think this is sort of like the Guardians of the Galaxy of the DC. You know, like it's different.
It has
than
the freedom
rest
to
of
be
it.
different.
That's all I mean by that. It's not in space.
All right,
I'm assuming it's not in space.
Am I the only one who's super excited for Source
No,
Code?
I am.
I'm extremely
Yeah.
excited.
Okay, Source Code is a movie that came out 2-3 years ago that
Duncan Jones.
it did well, but no one really talked about it that much. It didn't get like a huge fan base going. I thought it was one of the best movies of that year. I thought it was a very, very clever sci-fi movie. We actually had something to say, good performances. Jake Gyllenhaal was great in it. And I thought that would be the end of it because it just didn't break out. And now we're going to get a new film from Anna Forster, who is best known for doing a lot of episodes of Outlander.
Right.
And the cool thing is, you know, the last Source Code, I don't want to ruin anything because I don't think enough people saw it. It ended in such a way that you could totally do cool sequels.
Well, you could do cool sequels. You could also take the very basic premise and do something completely
Yeah,
different.
you absolutely
You don't
could.
really need or should even have Jake Gyllenhaal come back.
Yeah.
And
I think
very,
there's room to make that cool, but okay.
very shortly after the movie came out, it was announced that they were going to bring it to television as a
Yeah.
TV series, which Duncan Jones came out and said he didn't have anything to do with. He didn't know
He's
what
very
was
busy
going
with
on it.
Warcraft. I'm grinning.
But my favorite part of Source Code is the Quantum Leap reference.
Yes!
And the idea that, like, this show, if it was a TV show, I could totally see it because it basically is Quantum Leap. Which, why shouldn't Quantum Leap be on television?
Because
again?
Quantum Leap was awesome.
It was. And
Yell at me in the
rebooting
comments, but
Quantum
I love
Leap.
it. No, that's one of the, okay. I just really love it.
Everyone likes Quantum Leap, but there's no
It's
talk about like a
awesome.
big blockbuster movie. There's no talk about. It's sort of just like everyone's just like, let's just leave Quantum Leap for whatever reason. Everything is nothing is
been to a
sacred
con.
except Quantum Leap.
I've been to a Quantum Leap con. I'm not kidding. I actually covered a Quantum Leap con.
I'm not saying people don't
loved
care.
it.
People
Not
love
just
it,
me.
but everyone thinks it's sacred.
I want one TV show next year to just have Scott Bakula play one of the regular characters and never mention it.
What if, I think you can just imagine that with any show all the time. You know, in The Affair, Dominic West's character is actually Scott Bakula, and if he doesn't have sex with Ruth Wilson, he won't leap.
We have just gone down a hole that wow.
A Hobbit hole, which brings us to our next topic.
So good. It makes me feel better about the pun.
You haven't had a chance to see it yet.
I have not, though
I
I
have
have
seen it.
read The Hobbit maybe 400 times.
It's I had a great time with it. There was definitely something sad about. It sounds like this is the last Middle Earth film that there are legal rights that are
Right,
stopping.
yeah.
And I don't even know if I want to see a Silmarillion movie.
I think
anyway.
I'm
kind
done
of
with
do.
it.
I've also read that a lot too.
I saw it, and I've been very critical about the new franchise because what they did in The Lord of the Rings was they had so much material that they had room to just carve it down to the essentials and still have something really rich and exciting and dramatic and full of character. With The Hobbit's like that big. The Hobbit is a very, very, very short book. It is also very streamlined. It is also very carefully plotted. It works as what it is. But in order to make 3 films out of it, they had to expand it into a giant trilogy, add a bunch of characters. And most of them are from the appendices. Most of them are in continuity. I'm not arguing that. But I felt that in the films we've seen so far, they felt like a digression from the plot rather than something that was bolstering it. And I felt this new film is basically that times 10 now. You know, because there's this huge battle that in the book we don't even get to see because it's not the point. The point is that war is stupid, and now we're going to spend 45 minutes showing it because war sells tickets, and that's the exact opposite of what Tolkien meant.
War is stupid unless it's going to make money. And look, I didn't love the first 2 movies. I mean, I've been very vocal about that. I am willing to love this one. I'm actually excited to see it because because everything started with Lord of the Rings, and Lord of the Rings is one of my favorite trilogies of all time. And I wanted to love The Hobbit so much, so I am totally willing to love the last movie.
I will say some of the things without getting into spoilers at all, but that surprised me is it doesn't fall into the Return of the King trap of a bunch of different endings. It has a nice so long. It's just more fun. Luke Evans, who I didn't even particularly care for in Desolation of Smaug, I want to go back and watch because his character ultimately becomes a really interesting person.
He is, and I think I like a lot of the supporting characters that they introduce over this, like Alfred, like the Master of Lake Town's assistant becomes more important in this one. I like all that stuff, but I actually think that, although I didn't want all the like half hours worth of endings, there's so many new characters they introduced, and almost none of them get like a proper, like, here's what happened to them.
Well, Peter Jackson has pretty much already said that There and Back Again is being held for a grand super Hobbit, which I'm sure. I mean,
Okay,
we've
so
gotten
no
extended
one
edition.
see this movie. No one see it. It is Peter Jackson said it's a waste of your time. He's going to make a super movie. Do not bother with this one.
Oh my God.
There you go. You heard it here first. Look, I like these, but they're okay. But when you have this huge standard of The Lord of the Rings,
Yeah.
and then I watch The Hobbit, and
Hard to
at
live
best
up.
they're a fun mess. It's been a disappointment to me, and I'm looking forward to seeing Peter Jackson do something new now. Again.
I am also
Yeah,
looking
yeah.
forward to seeing do something new, but I was thrilled to see the end. It brought me back to the experience I had with Lord of the Rings, and I'm a super fan. I've been a fan since I was a kid. I literally climbed Mount Doom and destroyed a ring one time in New Zealand.
And that is why we're friends, Silas. Seriously.
We'll be back next week on Most Craved.
I know. Guys, make sure you follow us at Most Craved on Twitter, and we will see you next week.